for those of you who don't know, if you were under a rock or something, I don't know, Charlie Kirk, at the age of 31, the founder of Turning Point USA, a right-wing organization that is funded by right-wing institutional donors, who goes around college campuses and was credited by Donald Trump with like securing the Gen Z vote for Donald Trump. Okay. He was shot. He was shot in the neck at UVU in Utah. And he, shortly after being shot in the neck, died. Okay. And he was at an event. He died. There was another person that caused some instability at the event. And law enforcement hyper-focused on that guy. Meanwhile, the actual shooter, who was potentially above a rooftop 200 yards away, was able to get away. Okay? They were able to get away. They shot and killed Charlie Kirk, and they were able to get away. And in the aftermath of that, they found out that the one guy that was in the crowd was actually just like a known person who just like was experiencing a mental health episode. So instead of releasing him, they basically kept him in prison for obstruction of justice, which is crazy, but they basically cleared him of the not being the shooter. And then they apprehended another suspect who I believe was a dude with an Arab name, but it turns out he was a Heritage Foundation guy, who was just, it feels like they just only apprehended him because he is a dude with an Arab name, I guess, but he's like very clearly, he's a Heritage Foundation guy. He's a Trump supporter. He was there, to watch Charlie Kirk. So they released him as well. They cleared him as well. And now they have officially found and released images of a person of interest in the Charlie Kirk killing. Now, this is a person of interest, so we don't even know if this is actually the person, but like this is the closest we've arrived at whether or not this is the person. Now, one thing that I do want to mention here, however, is that outside of this person of interest, there was another revelation that came out, which I think is perhaps one of the most insane things I've seen with mainstream media in general. Steven Crowder this morning released an exclusive. This morning, my team received an email from an officer at the ATF. The email included a screenshot from what appears to be an internal message describing a weapon and cartridges located by an ATF and other law enforcement near the scene of the Charlie Kirk shooting at Utah Valley State University. And what's crazy about it isn't the fact that Steven Crowder actually released this information, right? Because that's the expectation. He's a Rumble guy. Of course, he's going to like go with unverified, unconfirmed reports and really feed into the narrative that like the shooter was probably trans, right? What's actually completely unacceptable is the fact that Wall Street Journal also ran along with this report. And the report is filled to the brim with spectacular misinformation. Like, they were saying that the bullets were engraved with anti-fascist and pro-trans messaging. Okay? Like, how are you engraving the bullets? Like, what the does that even mean? But this kind of misinformation goes crazy. Okay? Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University at Orem, Utah. Mr. Kirk was speaking at the university as a part of the American Comeback Tour. Multiple SLC 1 and 3 agents responded immediately. The suspect fired one shot from an elevated position on a rooftop in the adjacent building on the campus, and surveillance video shows the suspect jumping off and fleeing in the area on foot. ATF and other law enforcement located an older imported Mauser 30 .06 caliber bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus. The location of the firearm appears to match the suspect's route of travel. The spent cartridge was still chambered in addition to the 3 unspent rounds at the top-fed magazine. All cartridges have engraved wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. An emergency trace has been submitted, and ATF SLC working leads generated by the trace. Now, I want you to understand something. Okay? Like, do I think this is a deliberate piece of misinformation? Or do I think this was a misunderstanding that obviously got elevated by a charlatan such as Steven Crowder? The point is, it doesn't matter, okay? The New York Times assessment on this was a lot more sober than mine, but they basically said, and I'm going to pull that up real quickly, because this is a spectacular up. The New York Times had a follow-up on this and basically said that this report, according to a preliminary internal report circulated inside the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, federal and local officials recovered ammunition with a rifle that appeared to be engraved with statements expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. But a senior law enforcement official with direct knowledge of the investigation cautioned that report had not been verified by the ATF analysts, did not match other summaries of the evidence, and might turn out to have been misread or misinterpreted. In fast-moving investigations, such status reports are not made public because they often contain a mixture of accurate and inaccurate information. Now, I don't know if this is the case. I also personally don't even understand how transgender ideology could even be engraved on a bullet. Okay? But revealing this information on an unsubstantiated internal report is not doing journalism. It's actually doing the opposite of journalism. Unless you actually see what they were talking about and engage with follow-ups and get the verified analysis, this is unimaginably, this is the type of shit you expect from Steven Crowder. It's not the type of shit you expect from CNN, okay? Which CNN also did. But they said cultural phrases, which a lot of people are mad about as well, because they think that CNN is hiding the truth. A range of phrases related to cultural issues were found scrawled on the rifle and ammunition found in the woods near the conservative activist Charlie Kirk was murdered on Wednesday, according to sources with knowledge of the investigation. Authorities are analyzing those messages as they seek to identify a suspect in the killing, sources said. But it's not yet clear if they point to a motivation in the attack. I don't know if the media environment is responding to the utter panic that they experience from independent resources being first to market, okay? And they just, in an effort to get ahead of other people flanking them out, or other people like leaking certain stories, they just don't do their due diligence and they don't think about how they are supposed to respond in this situation, okay? I don't know. What is this? From one political commentator to another, and then the person you sent me a shoe on head the last 2 weeks have completely blackpilled me on the left. Why would you ever send this to me, man? This is another person literally saying, I'm leaving the left because the left sucks, when they never were a part of the left. Please, man. Oh my God. You guys like encounter these people without knowing their background, and then you think like, well, this person must be sincere in this moment. Like, it's okay to be a little bit more critical of the shit that you read online, bro. What the wow, I can't believe it. This person is leaving the left. This person who was never a part of the left is leaving the left. Wow, how shocking. How many people have done that? How many times have we seen that, you know? Listen, to me, it just feels like there's a lot of apolitical, centrist, or, sometimes economically populist content creators out there. And there's a real issue with like people that get their notes from people such as this one. Okay. And I think like you're just read a book. I don't know. Just read a book instead of just like getting your notes from like YouTubers, man, please, myself included. Like, Jesus Christ. At least I have like a well-defined ideological point of view that I am not shy about revealing all the time.